Join me as I dive into the story of Moses and the Ten Commandments. Can I break down these ancient laws and see how they still apply to us today? The story of Moses and the Ten Commandments is one of the most iconic and influential tales in human history, shaping religious and cultural contexts for thousands of years. From art to literature, music to film, the commandments have left an indelible mark on our collective imagination. And yet, despite their ubiquity, many of us don't know the full story behind these sacred laws. The Israelites had been wandering in the wilderness for decades, freed from their Egyptian slavery, but still struggling to find their footing as a nation. Without a clear sense of direction or purpose, they found themselves at odds with one another, their exodus from Egypt rapidly becoming a distant memory. They needed guidance, structure, and a sense of identity, and it was in this context that God intervened, calling Moses to lead his people into a new era of covenantal relationship. As the Israelites journeyed through the desert, they encountered numerous challenges, from poisonous snakes to bitter water, and it was in the midst of these trials that they cried out to God for help. God responded by providing for their physical needs, but he also knew that they required something more profound, a moral framework that would govern their relationships with one another and with him. It's against this backdrop of struggle and uncertainty that Moses steps into the narrative, an unlikely hero with a stutter and a humble heart. Called by God to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, Moses had already demonstrated his willingness to trust in the divine, but what was about to unfold would test his faith like never before. Moses' journey up Mount Sinai was no ordinary hike. It was an ascent into the very presence of God. The mountain was shrouded in mystery, its peak hidden behind a veil of cloud and fire. And it was there that God would reveal himself to Moses in a way that would change the course of history. The air was electric with anticipation as Moses climbed higher, the silence punctuated only by the sound of his own footsteps and the rustling of the wind. As Moses reached the top of the mountain, he entered a realm that few had ever experienced, a realm where the divine and human intersected. It was here that God spoke to Moses in a voice that was both familiar and terrifying, a voice that communicated both love and judgment. The encounter was intense, the language rich and evocative, and at its heart was a promise to give the Israelites a new identity, a new purpose, and a new way of living. The Ten Commandments were the highlight of this divine encounter, a set of laws that would govern the Israelites' behavior and shape their understanding of God's character. They were not just a random collection of do's and don'ts. They were a comprehensive framework for living that spoke to the very heart of humanity. And at the heart of these commandments was a deeper truth, that God is a God of relationship, of covenant, of love. The moment Moses received the Ten Commandments was a deeply impactful event for the Israelites. The thunder boomed, the lightning flashed, and the earth shook. And in that instant, they knew that they were in the presence of the divine. It was an encounter that would stay with them for the rest of their lives, a reminder of God's power and majesty. As Moses descended the mountain, the commandments etched on tablets of stone, the Israelites gathered around, their faces aglow with a mix of awe and fear. They knew that they had been given something precious, something that would shape their destiny as a nation. And though they would stumble and fall, though they would forget and disobey, the commandments would remain, a testament to God's enduring love and faithfulness. At their core, the Ten Commandments teach us about the importance of relationships with God, with ourselves, and with others. They remind us that we are not autonomous individuals, free to do as we please, but rather we are part of a larger narrative, a narrative that is shaped by love, justice, and compassion. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the story of Moses and the Ten Commandments. Share your thoughts on the commandments in the comments below, and if you want to explore more biblical stories, be sure to check out my other video.